Good day to everyone and welcome to our series on thriving in the face of adversity. We are really thriving at this point, and this evening we're going to be talking about finding peace. Peace is something that we all need at this point in time. Peace is something that costs us nothing. Our state of mind is what gives us the peace that we need right now. We do not need to live in denial. We are in a state of emergency as the whole world, not just as an individual. And because we know that, that's a fact. What are we going to do about it? There's nothing individually that we can do. Those who have the wherewithal to do things medically, they're doing it. They're working. They're making things that they need to do happen. We don't want to live in denial. But once you accept the state that you're in, the next thing is knowing that this too shall pass, meaning at some point this will go away. But in the process, in this process that we are all in right now, where we're having situations of quarantine, don't go out, don't do this, don't do that, a lot of restrictions are being placed on our lives, and it's not something we're used to. So because of that, there might be a lot of struggles within. But until we find that peace, we will not be able to pass through this season. This season will be turbulent, if you will. Not to scare anyone. We already know what's happening. I don't need to scare anyone. This is a season of COVID-19, something that came, and all of us are dealing with it. But having said that, it's here. So we are accepting it because we have no choice. We can't control what is happening, but we know one thing for sure, that the season will go away, meaning all the right things are being done to put things in place. And once we do this, we accept the situation that's at hand right now. What is happening is what is happening. So we are accepting what's happening, and then we want to be able to go beyond acceptance. Once we accept it, how do we respond? That's where that peace factor comes in. Peace is the state of mind that just gives you the joy, the comfort, the confidence that you know that all will be well. You don't know the when and the how, but there's the state of mind that you enjoy that gives you that all will be well when it's well. That's why we keep saying this too shall pass. So when you respond in a positive way, two things happen. You begin to internalize that peace that we all need. The whole world needs peace right now. If we were all at peace with one another, maybe we wouldn't see this health catastrophe on this level. But this is causing all of us to come together and to talk. So we are accepting it. As hard as it might be, people are beginning to know that this is what it's going to be. If you're asked to stay at home, work from home, do whatever needs to be done, that's what we need to do. But we want to encourage ourselves and say that this is a thriving time and we get it. But how do we find peace? Now that we've accepted the situation of what's happening around us, none of us can change what is happening right now. So we have to get to that acceptance stage. And that acceptance stage is what begins to help you embrace what's on ground, what you are faced with. And once you accept it, then you need to start responding. And some of the responses can be very, depending on who it is. But for this platform, we're going to encourage all of us to respond positively, knowing that it's not going to be easy to hear some bad news and immediately forget it. No, it's going to be difficult. When we hear bad news as human beings, it becomes very difficult for us to continue to live because we're thinking of so many things that could be going wrong. So once you respond, we want to be able to create. What can we create that will give us that joy, that will give us that peace? And it starts with you and I. It starts with that ability to know who you are, to love on yourself, because you can only give what you have. And what peace does for everyone, it calms everything down. It calms your nerve. If you've ever been nervous or angry, agitated, when the minute you accept what's happening and you respond in a way that calms you down, you begin to see that all will be well. This too shall pass. Something great is going to come out of this. And then, of course, you're creating. That's the next thing. How do you create an atmosphere, a setting that would ensure that peace is in line with everything you do? Majority of what you need to do depends on you, as easy as it might sound. But you know what? Sometimes we are the ones that deny ourselves peace. As human beings, most of the time, we deny ourselves the peace. Because why? We think too much of things. We overthink, we overestimate, we over-exaggerate. And by the time you're listening to the news, you're listening to people who like to sugarcoat things and make it sweeter than what it is. Then you begin to worry and fret. And before you know it, the peace eludes us. Peace is within us. Peace is something that we carry. But we need to manifest it in a way that we can appropriate it to situations that's in the countries, in the nations right now. We've said that there's nothing we can do. COVID-19 is here, and we're accepting it because day by day we're still surviving, we're thriving, we're being able to follow the rules and regulations and whatever everyone is telling us to do, and we're responding, meaning do this, we do it, don't do this, we don't do it. So we've gotten well enough to that response stage. Now we want to be able to start creating. How do we begin to live our life again? So ARC, you want to accept, you want to respond, and you of course want to create. So that's the three words that I want us to really understand. And accepting just means that the situation is here. Like I said, we're working with it. We're going to make it work. We're responding to it, ensuring that at least for what and who we can control, we influence them positively. We do not add to what's already compounded. What's compounded right now, nobody knows the magnitude of what it will be before it gets better. But one thing for sure we know is it will get better. These two shall pass. Then now we get to the creative mode. We need to do away with weights. News that would overwhelm us. Conversations that would get us down. People that would want to talk their way through their knowledge of what they know and don't know. People that would overanalyze the situation and they're not on the field doing the work right now, but they will help you overanalyze this. We need to stay away from such people. We need to get information that we need to be able to abide with the rules and regulations and the laws of the land that every leader has put in place. But short of that, conversations that will be horrific, that will be giving you a headache, you just want to shy away from it. You don't have to listen to anything you don't want to. So we have the control to not have to listen. So you want to stay away from weighty situations. You want to focus on matters that matter right now. What matters? All of us know, especially in the area I'm in right now and every other area, you know what matters is your home. They said stay home, stay home. So your home matters. If you didn't know before, it does. And for crying out loud, a home is a safe haven. So for the past few days, few weeks, for some of us, we have been confined in our homes and we are still living. We are not losing our minds because that's what it's supposed to do. This is just a reset again. Like we said yesterday, this is a reset and a restart for all of us to be able to know what are the priority of things in our lives. And in this case, they say stay home. So that's our family. And in our homes too, we're able to evaluate what's working. We're able to conversate with one another and able to have discussions that we've never had before because everybody is busy going up and down. But one thing I urge all of us to do is let's open the dialogue of communication in our homes, because what matters will always matter. And what matters is not about the benefit the person will get from you or the one you will get from them. A family is a family. Your family is there. Your people, your loved ones are there, or even non-family members, friends who care about you. This is a time to check up on them, see how they are doing, what they are doing, And then you definitely want to embrace that God factor. That God factor is the one singular thing that I know. I'm not talking about anybody else, that I know will get us through this. Because every single day, there's that anxiety. And if you do not bring in your faith to function, we can truly lose it. So the God factor is so much more important now than ever. And when I say the God factor, it concerns your praying, your ability to apply your faith in everything you do. And also, this is a good time to invite people to know who your Savior is and who gives you the faith that you are embracing. That God factor is so important. Whoever your God is, this is the time to really, really know that there is this super being, there's supreme being above each and every one of us. And none of us could have figured out and could have fathomed that this time, this year, when we all said Happy New Year, we were looking forward to an exciting year. We didn't know that there would be a little interruption for correction. Nobody knew that. I didn't hear it from anyone. But when it happened, it just happened. So now we're dealing with it. And that's why I said we have to accept it. So now that we've accepted it, now we are responding to it. And some of us are going to respond positively, and some of us are still going to be in that worrisome mode. And you know what? That's okay. Everybody grows and goes through a phase. And that's why if you are engaging with other people who are not quite there, who are not strong enough yet to say this is what's happening, this is the time to let them know that this too shall pass. Respond to them when they see the way you are responding to this situation, the COVID-19 situation. They will know that if you can respond positively and you're still living your life every day, then they need to live their life, because we cannot put our lives on hold right now. Every day, like I keep saying, the clock is ticking. Nothing changes. The time is always moving. Whether we want to spend all the time doing nothing or worrying, the clock will move. Today is the 31st of March. Tomorrow is the 1st of April. So the days will keep moving. So right now is the time to respond to what's in our hands. This is what it is. This is how we are going to live for now. We have, the facts are established. There's nothing we can do about it than to respond. And your choices of responses will differ depending on your experience and your platform. And that's why this platform is meant for you to be engaged and also to know that you're not alone and that this too shall pass. It will pass because there has probably been other things not medically inclined that happened in the past, but it happened and it went. We have it as history now. But while we're waiting for the medical part to be what we want, we also have to think about the snowball effects on other things that will come alive after all of this is over. People are losing their jobs. People are also looking for ways to better their lives. Families are not able to go to work. Some do have work. So all of those things, that's why you and I need to figure, how do we become that voice of hope to those who might be feeling a little bit dampened in the spirit right now? How do we become that voice of hope so that they know that they're not alone? They know they can count on you, that you can count on them. We need to find a way to re-strategize, to rethink, have a thinking retreat by yourself or with a partner, and just list all the things that you're thinking. Have a blank piece of paper. Have a thinking retreat. I've always desired to have a thinking retreat somewhere where you just walk in, nobody walks in with anything other than a blank piece of paper sitting there, waiting for you to just write all your wish list, everything that you desire. This is a good time to do that, to put everything that you're desiring on paper with a plan of execution. The timeline, you might not have the clarity right now, because you're thinking, Remy, how can I plan now when I don't even know when a hall will be allowed to open, when maybe more than 10 people will be allowed to gather. But guess what? If you do not plan now, when all those things will happen, they will happen like quick. You will hear the announcement just like we've been hearing some of the depressing news. We'll start hearing the good news saying, oh, this is going to happen, that is going to happen, that's going to happen. Then what do we then do if we haven't prepared? Then we are going to now say, oh, I need to do this. But guess what? We had all this time. So this is the preparation time. And with the God factor in your preparation, you will be able to see clearly. There will be clarity in what you do, because what you do is not just about you. The Lord wants us to be restored. Whatever message we need to learn, I hope and pray that we all learn it and move on and even get more energy to spring forth to that greater heights that is destined for us. Because we're told that we're peculiar people, and that's who we are. We are marvelous people. We are people that are designed for wonders, signs and wonders. And in order for us to do all of that, it takes work. So this is the time for you and I to work hard and to see how can we prepare. So when they give us the freedom to live again the way that we've been living, we have actionable things that we can do. How do we find peace in the midst of chaos? Envision the best. Think of nothing but the best. Do not think about how you're going to make it the best, because you're not the only equation. Like I always say, you're not the only equation that will make things happen. Just think of the best. When you think of the best will happen. Then you start nursing positive idea. When you're thinking of best things, you don't get depressed. You don't worry. You get this peace. You get this joy, this excitement in your heart that you really, really, that people look at you and think sometimes, oh, is she drunk? Is he drunk? What is she seeing that we're not seeing? That's what happens. But your thought process, back to the mindset and your thought process is what allows you to be in that state of mind. And your state of mind is what you exhibit on the outside. Your state of mind is something that allows you, it smells out and allows you to really manifest what you're thinking. So definitely when you have good thoughts and nothing else, you will definitely find the peace that you need. You need to understand no such thing as perfection. Nobody is perfect. So do not strive for perfection. Just strive to be your best every day and do your best every day. Your best might never be the best for somebody else, but if that's the best you can do, that is clearly the best you can do. So just remember that you are not going to be perfect. I am not going to be perfect. And there's no such thing as perfection. Once you have that in your mindset, or every day you're living and living full like there's no tomorrow, and you're giving your best in everything you do. Learn to listen to your guts and your inner mind, your gut feelings. Listen to that. This is the time more than ever to listen to our guts. When our guts tells us to do something, when we're expected to be silent, that's not the time to be talking. When we're expected to observe, that's not the time to be talking. Let's listen to our guts. When we listen to our guts, we can clearly know where we are. I was at a meeting before we had this COVID quarantine, and there was someone in the meeting that really caught my attention. Usually they are very bubbly, very talkative and good, not in a bad way. They just are vocal. And I realized that in that meeting, this individual was very quiet, very serene and quiet. And I'm thinking, are you okay? And I said, I think I asked twice, and the person said, I am okay. Then I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, I didn't say it because the meeting was still going on. But I was thinking in my head that why is she quiet this time? And other people were talking. So after the event, I went over to her, and actually she was coming towards me as I was heading out, and she said, you know why I wasn't going to talk today? Because everything I needed to say would not fit into, would not be acceptable if I say it here. So my talk will need to be carried behind the scene in a better setting where my communication will be well received. I'm like, wow, what a profound wisdom. Do you try to bite your tongue sometimes? and not try to prove a point or show some ego sometimes. That might be what is needed for us to get to that next level. We do not have to prove any points to anyone. We just need to do the best that we can do and listen to our gut feeling. When your gut says be silent, please obey. This is the time to find our purpose. When you want to find peace, one of the steps is to find our purpose. What are we created here on earth to do? What is that solution that we're created to solve? Who are those people that we're created to add value to? When you begin to look for your purpose clearly, you will number one, be very busy, because that's an agenda, an unending agenda on its own, because everything will lead to another thing, and then you find yourself constantly working, constantly engaging every time. And that's what happens when you are purpose driven. Your purpose is to find your purpose, and that's a lot of work. But it's a work that you can do because you know your strengths, your weaknesses, and your areas of improvement, and how you have done things in the past. So because it's something you desire to find, that will give you peace, because you have put yourself on an assignment, and that way you will get what you need to get. You want to also surround yourself by authentic and real people. People who can criticize you in love, and people who can also commend you in love, not those who would only want to tell you what you want to hear, not those who are sycophants. You want to run away from sycophancy at this phase, because it's not going to get anybody anywhere. The world is a global village. The world is so wide open. People are more sensitive to important things. So sycophancy has failed. So do not even embrace it, because it doesn't give anyone any result. People are wiser day by day. So sycophants will be null and void very soon. Watch my word. Make time for things and people that matter. To find peace, you have to make time for people and things that matter. Because when you make time for such things, right away, you're going to be moving in the same tangent. What is the purpose? You're a couple, you don't know what each other are about. You're a parent, you don't know what your children are about. I'm not saying you know everything. You don't even have the setting whereby they can approach you for conversation. That's a little difficult. This is the time for us to know that what matters, matters. And let's see, what can we do to make what matters understand that they matter? Because sometimes we assume, oh, my husband knows I love him. My wife knows I love her. My children know I love them. But what have you done for them lately that's special, that makes them to really feel it? It doesn't have to be, we can't go out to eat. It could be simple things that maybe you didn't do before. Have you thought of checking on them and saying, oh, by the way, what are your thoughts? You know, what are your, what are you thinking right now? What's going on in your neck of the, like if you're a parent, kind of chill out with them, have a conversation like you're talking to your friend, versus that academic conversation, yes, no answer. Make it conversational in a friendly way. Do that. For your spouse, let them know you appreciate them. Maybe you've been running around and you know that if you didn't have their support, you probably won't be able to do a lot of things in peace. Because now peace is the key. You can do some things, but if you're not doing it in peace, it will tell on your health, and we don't want that. Realize you are indefinable. You are indefinable because you are indescribable. As a human being, sometimes people would say, introduce yourself. Or some people, depending on who they are and how they know you, they see you from one perspective. Other people see you from another perspective. Some people see me from the perspective of being a mother. My children will. My husband will see me from a perspective of being a wife. My mentees will see me from another perspective. My friend might see me from another perspective. But one common denominator should be that you are someone that's impact driven. Your style might be different, meaning you might be someone that has a different style than the other person, but there should be one common denominator of doing good and doing it in an authentic way, not for self, but for others. So we have talked about how to find peace. I also know that some of you already are in peace. You love yourself, you are in peace, and you know exactly why peace is important. If you don't know, without peace, we can do nothing. And with peace, all things are possible. And when we say peace, are you going to be in peace in one accord every time? Maybe not. But when you have conditioned your mind and yourself and your environment to ensure that peace is the currency, then it's easier to show love and correct someone in love. So that person doesn't harbor any anger just because you're correcting them. And you doing it in love too. Emotional intelligence. You're bringing your ability to check somebody's emotion and letting them know you care in a way. Like the example I gave of that lady that didn't say anything. I didn't go and be badgering her and say, oh, you're not talking now. I was just kind of asking from a concerned person because I've seen her at settings. And I was just kind of flabbergasted that she was totally dead silent. And that took me by surprise. But the way I was asking was more caring, not a nosy way. You know how some people ask things and before they even ask, you're already feeling like you better not ask me one more time because you know they don't care. But the way I asked was more of a concerning and she could get it. So use your emotional intelligence now than ever to ensure that when you're engaging with people, people are human beings, no matter if they are your staff, they are your friend, they are your foe, they are your whoever, they're your subordinate. They're human first. And because they're human first, they want you to care for them as a human being. And when you have peace in your heart, you would know to engage other people in love. And when you engage them in love, they will reciprocate. And they will see that good side and they will be able to engage better with you. And then we get the results that we want to get. I know the time has been well spent. I'm going to wrap it up. And for those who joined late, we said, this is the time we know that COVID-19 is here. So we have gone past the acceptance stage. If you haven't, wake up, accept it. It's here. It's global. There's nothing we can do right now. It's here. So the acceptance stage is done. Now, how are we responding to it? And how we're responding to it will vary. And I sure hope that we're responding to it in a proactive and positive way, because there's nothing we can do right now but to know that this too shall pass. And then, of course, once we know that we are responding positively, there will be some down moments. That's why you need to build great networks. So when you're having your down moment, you can engage those who will stimulate your excitement. And then, of course, the C, you create. What are you creating? Are you creating platforms where you can engage with people? Are you creating platforms where you can chat with people, add value to lives, give people the hope after the medical part is done and we're all told to go back to our normalcy? The economic part is still there. What are we doing proactively to position, to make sure that we are a resource, that we can be a blessing to help someone who maybe have suffered significantly in this situation? So there's a lot of work for us to do, ladies and gentlemen, and we will continue to bring our voices to you. We decided to make it a once-a-day activity because of the feedback we got from some of you. If we need to change it to twice a day again, we will. But I will switch over to Instagram. So I'll go on Instagram Live. I thank you so much for joining us. For those who would watch later, we're thanking you in advance. Please share it. If it's been a blessing to you, share it. Let other people get a word or two that would help them. And that's the only way we can restore and maximize our potential and bring hope and life back into our different communities. Thank you so much. God bless you.